Welcome to the Explainer. So you're a data scientist making that jump into ML engineering. You've been there, right? You build this incredible model, it's working perfectly in your notebook, and then you hit that wall. Now what? Well, in this Explainer, we're going to break down exactly how you master project releases, how you take that amazing experimental code and turn it into a rock-solid professional system that people can actually use and depend on. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the why. Like, why even bother with formal releases in the first place? Then we'll get into the what, talking about the blueprints you need, like Git workflows and versioning. And finally, we'll wrap up with the how, a step-by-step playbook for creating and, even better, automating your releases. Let's get into it. So, first things first, why should you really care about releases? I get it. If you're coming from a data science or research background, this can feel like a bunch of extra, unnecessary work. But trust me, this is the crucial first step to moving out of that notebook chaos and into production stability. It's about bringing real software engineering discipline to our ML projects. Let me just ask you this. Your model hits 95% accuracy. That's awesome, right? But if it's just, trapped in a bunch of scripts and notebooks on your laptop, is it really done? Can your teammates use it reliably? Can you roll it back to a previous version if something goes wrong? The answer is probably no. And that's exactly the gap that releases are designed to fill. So what even is a release really? Well, it's way more than just a zip file of your code. Think of it like a sealed, versioned box. And inside that box is everything you need. The code, all its dependencies, the documentation, everything. It's a formal snapshot, a single, stable point in your project's history that you can always go back to. And this is why they are absolutely essential. First off, they're a communication tool. They tell your users, hey, here are the cool new features and important fixes. Internally, they break up a massive, long-term project into manageable milestones. But most importantly, a release is a promise. It's a quality gate that guarantees a certain level of stability and consistency. If you remember one thing from this section, make it this. A release is basically a contract. When someone decides to use version 1.2.3 of your tool, they are trusting that it will behave in a specific, predictable way. That consistency is everything. It's how you build trust with anyone who depends on your work. Now, to make good on that contract, you need a solid plan. And when you're working with a team, that plan, that foundation, is your Git workflow. It's the blueprint for how everyone is going to collaborate on the code without stepping on each other's toes. You basically got three main flavors to choose from. GitHub Flow is super simple and fast, perfect for small teams that are pushing out updates all the time. Then there's Git Flow. It's much more structured, with special branches for features and releases. It's built for bigger projects that have a more formal, scheduled release cycle. And finally, you have the forking workflow, which is the standard in open source, where anyone can make their own copy and suggest changes. The bottom line, you've got to match the workflow to your team's size and how often you plan to ship. Okay, you've got your workflow. Now you need a language to actually talk about your releases, and that's where versioning comes in. It's a simple, structured way to tell everyone exactly what your new release changes and how significant those changes are. You'll basically see two main approaches out in the wild. The first is Semantic Versioning, or SemVer. It uses that major.minor.patch format, and it's brilliant because it communicates the impact of a change. If you change that first number, you're telling people, warning, this update might break your code. The other approach is Calendar Versioning, or CalVer. This tells you when something was released, which is really useful for services that are updated constantly. So here's the deal. For the kind of libraries and tools you'll be building in an MLOps role, SemVer is almost always the right call. I can't stress this enough. Why? Because it immediately tells another engineer whether upgrading your package is a safe, minor update or something major that's going to require them to change their own code. That clarity is just priceless. All right, we've talked about the why and the what. Now it's time for the really fun part, the how. This is your practical, step-by-step playbook for actually getting a release out the door, from start to finish. Every single quality release begins with a quality review process. It all starts when you create a new branch to work on your feature.
Once you think you're done, you open what's called a pull request, or PR. This is your formal request to add your code to the project. It's where your teammates can review it, your automated tests kick in, and once everyone gives it a thumbs up, your code gets merged. This process is the guardian of your project's quality.
Now, before you even dream of hitting that publish button, you need a pre-flight checklist. This is your final safety net. Seriously, don't skip this. Did all the tests pass? Yes? Good. Is the documentation up to date with your new changes? Is a change log, that summary of what's new, actually finished? A few minutes checking these boxes can save you hours of pain down the road.
So how do you actually make it official? Well, on a platform like GitHub, it's pretty straightforward. You just head over to the releases page in your repository, you draft a new release, you create a new tag that matches your version number, like v1.2.3, and then you write up some clear, helpful release notes. You hit publish, and that's it. You've just formalized that contract with your users.
Okay, doing all of that by hand is a great way to learn the ropes. But to really level up your MLOps game, you need to automate. Automation lets you build a reliable, repeatable release pipeline that not only saves a ton of time, but, more importantly, it gets rid of human error. A good automated pipeline, maybe using something like GitHub Actions, can handle this entire dance for you. It can automatically bump the version number, generate a change log from your commit messages, create the official tag and the GitHub release, build any artifacts you need like a Docker image, and even publish the whole thing to a registry. This is MLOps in action. It's a beautiful thing. And last but not least, your release isn't truly done until you've told people about it. The GitHub release page is your official announcement, the main source of truth. A changelog file right in your code repository gives other developers a running history of every change. And for your actual users, a site hosted on GitHub Pages is a fantastic way to give them clean, easy-to-read documentation for each specific version. And that brings us to our final thought for today. Pushing that publish button isn't the end of the story. In fact, it's the beginning of a commitment. You've sent your work out into the world. So, now what? How are you going to support your users? Are you going to fix bugs in older versions? Thinking about these questions now is what separates a pretty good project from a truly great one.